It's taken a lot of practice, but we've done it. We've come up with some proven natural remedies for ADHD in children. You'll want to catch this. As I've had the opportunity and privilege to work with families, kids, parents, ADHD has come up a lot, and it's something that can be really frustrating and difficult for a family to deal with. I get asked all the time, what are some things we can do short of medication? Because we don't really want to go the medication route. What else can we do? I've got some ideas for you today. A quick disclaimer. I know from my clinical experience and from the research that's been done, the treatment of choice for ADHD, when I say ADHD, I think most of you know what I'm talking about. It's attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, a very common diagnosis for kids. The treatment of choice for a true ADHD diagnosis is stimulant medication, which doesn't make sense to a lot of parents because here's their kids bouncing off the walls and you want to give them a stimulant. Well, there's reasons why that works that get into brain chemistry. In fact, if you try the medication and it doesn't work or it makes things worse, that's usually diagnostic. Probably means we're dealing with something other than a true ADHD kind of a process. We're not getting into the medications today, okay? That's outside of my area of expertise and licensure. And as a psychologist, I've been asked a lot, what can we do? Either in addition to the medication or instead of the medication that will give us some shot at making some improvements here. So what I'm about to share with you is a 4-part process that you can use. This is coming from a parenting standpoint. Originally, the ideas that I'm sharing with you today, I heard from Foster Cline and Jim Fay and the good folks over there at the Love and Logic program. You've probably heard of them. If you haven't, connect with Parenting with Love and Logic. That's the seminal book that came out by Foster Cline and Jim Fay. And they've since built all kinds of resources for parents to get into. I'm basing what I'm sharing with you today off of a model that was first introduced to me through the Love and Logic people. So I want to give them full credit for that. And as we go into that, here are the steps. So step 1 is to give them a task they can handle. Now, before we get too far into this, part of the problem with attention deficit disorder is that there's not a connection going on in the child's mind between cause and effect. There's sometimes a disregard for the natural effects of whatever their choices or behaviors are. So we want to help to connect those up. Here's another thing that I've found that is very helpful. Think versus fight. Think versus fight. Even in a child's brain that has ADHD, there's still a higher executive functioning that can override some of the things that are causing the problem. We want to activate that part of the brain and get them thinking. Every interaction you have with your child is going to invite them to do one of those two things, either think or fight. What do you want them to do? Think, because if they're thinking, they're making better decisions. Fight probably isn't going to get us where we want to go. So keep that in mind as we talk about this. We're inviting our kids to enhance their ability to think, to make good decisions, regardless of what it is in their brain or in their environment that's trying to distract them. We want them to make some good decisions. So that's what these 4 steps are all about, okay? And it's probably going to accomplish some other cool things from a parenting perspective because you want your kid to be able to do some of these things that you want them to do. But that's only secondary. What we're trying to do is train their brain to take a higher level of control so that they can better monitor their own behavior with or without medication. Okay? So that's what the steps are for. Now, going back to step 1, give them a task they can handle. How can you tell if your child can handle whatever it is that you're asking them to do? Okay. Now, there's some obvious answers to that, right? Like if they've done it before, that's a dead giveaway. It's like, oh yeah, they can handle it. I've seen them do it before. Can you trust their opinion about this? Because sometimes your kids are going, oh, I can't, that's too hard, right? You going to trust that? Now, motivation and ability are very different things. What we're talking about here is ability. When I say give them a task they can handle. So here's a little test that you can apply. I call it the 5K test. And what it has to do with is motivation. Okay, so you ask yourself, hey, if I were to offer my kid $5,000 to do what I just asked him to do, would it happen? Now, maybe your kid's not interested in money, but substitute there whatever would motivate them. If you gave them enough of whatever their price is, would it happen? That's how you can tell if they can handle it or not. So let's apply that. How about keeping the room clean? Yeah, for $5,000, they're all over it. How about getting their homework done on time and turned in appropriately? Oh yeah, they can handle that too. How about replacing the roof on your home? Oh, not so much, right? Even if you offer them the motivation, it's outside of their ability. That's what we're talking about. So give them a task they can handle. Are we good? All right, let's move to step 2. This surprises some parents. Once you give them the task, you're going to hope that they blow it. I know, that's not what you were expecting. Normally, you give them a task and you're on them. You're like, hey, did you do that yet? You're following up with them. You're reminding them. We call it reminding. They call it nagging, riding me. Yeah, and it doesn't tend to help a whole lot, okay? Now, I said blow it. I didn't say fail. Because ultimately we want them to succeed. Why? Because our job is to love them, no matter what and even if. And because we love them, we want them to have a great experience in life, right? And because we know from our own experiences that they're going to learn the most in life from their mistakes, just like you and I have, we're kind of hoping that they blow it now. Check this out. The price tag on your kids' mistakes goes up every day. What I mean is that it is more expensive tomorrow. You think about a 5-year-old, for example, and the kind of mistakes they might make and what the consequences would be for those. Now think of a 15-year-old, the kind of mistakes that they could make. Do you see how the cost went up? It's higher stakes the longer your kid's on the planet. So we want them to blow it. Why? Because we're sadistic and cruel? No, because we love them and want them to have the most rich, full, joyful experience they can possibly have in life. That's why, and we understand that they're going to learn from their mistakes. We want that to happen at the lowest cost possible so that they get to have a significant learning opportunity at the lowest cost possible. You with me? Now, the other thing this does is brilliant because it changes the psychology of you as a parent. I want you to just smile, okay? Smile. It's going to freak your kids out. When mom's smiling, kids are thinking. It's a pretty good rule of thumb because they're like, oh, what does she know that I don't, right? Remember, think versus fight. We want to invite them to think. For you to kick back and smile because you kind of hope that they blow it is going to totally change the dynamic and the psychology with which they're approaching this issue. It's brilliant, okay? So we're going to back off. We're going to hope that they blow it. No reminding, all right? No reminding. And kids, if you're watching the video, I want you to comment below if your parents remind you about stuff, and I'll call them out, all right? No reminding. That's just nagging in a euphemism, all right? No reminding. That would go against what you're hoping for because you kind of want them to blow it. Now, why? We don't want them to fail. We got 2 more steps left after all. So let's go to step 3. Step 3, you let consequences and empathy do the teaching. Quick note about each of those. Consequences, the word itself, consequence, with some kind of a pattern or order, all right? It's something that follows something else. It's a natural result of whatever just happened. That's what a consequence is. We don't want to rob our kids of the consequence because that's what creates the learning. You think about the mistakes you've made. Now, why are those so powerful to you in your personal learning? It's because it cost you something. It hurt, or it was expensive, or it somehow cost you, right? What if we take away the cost? Well, then you don't get the learning either. Do not rob your children of their significant learning opportunities by taking away the consequences. Sometimes we want to go back to the 3 R's of parenting. Rant, rave, and rescue. Rant, rave, and rescue. That's where we bawl them out and then bail them out. And it's not working because it sends the wrong message. What that tells your kid is, oh, you probably aren't smart enough to learn from your experiences. I'm going to have to bail you out, but I'm going to chew you out in the process so that you know I'm unhappy. Really? Is that what you want them to learn? No. Step 3, let consequences and empathy do the teaching. Consequences is kind of understandable. Let's go to empathy. Empathy is where you understand and care how someone else feels. You understand and care. You got to have both elements. So instead of bawling them out and bailing them out or saying something like, well, if you would just listen to me, this would never happen. And next time you better, forget about next time. We're doing it this time. Okay, the consequence happens this time. And then instead of anger, we go to where we really feel. We don't want our kids to have these consequences, do we? No, we're benevolent, loving, generous parents. So we really want them to not have consequences. And usually we take away the consequence to help our own feelings about this. And then we bawl them out to make sure they know they're in trouble. Let them have the consequence. And then feel it with them. Feel it with them. I had a mom I was working with. Her daughter wanted to go to the prom. Her daughter needed a dress for the prom. The agreement was, and I'll just take you through the first 3 steps here. Mom gave her a task she could handle. Okay? She was having some problems in school. She was skipping out and smoking something out behind the shop. Mom said, I want you to be in every class on time with your homework assignments turned in for a full week. If you can do that, I will take you out and buy you a prom dress. Okay, she already had a date. What do you think happened? Now, first of all, do you believe that that is a task that this teenage girl could handle? Step 1, oh yeah, check, done. She can handle this. Step 2, back off. Okay, hope that she blows it. Why? Well, this is going to be hard if she does, right? So it's kind of hard to hope that. But remember, the price tag on her mistakes goes up every day, and she's already experimenting with some pretty costly stuff. So now is good. Later is more expensive, earlier is not an option. So we're going to do it now. Mom did it beautifully. She backed off. She didn't remind her. She wasn't checking in every day. She was simply tracking and monitoring to see what her daughter chose to do. Guess what? She didn't attend every class that week. Awesome! That's step 2. Okay, that's a little counterintuitive because you're like, oh, I wish she would have. No, we want her to blow it. Why? Because she gets to have the significant learning opportunity at the lowest cost possible. This is good news. But then step 3 is hard because Mom wanted to bail her out and go buy that dress. I was so proud of her, the way that she handled this. She put her arms around that daughter. As daughter was crying, Mom, what am I going to do? I already have a date. I don't have anything to wear. I know, honey. I know, sweetie. She put her arm around her and she said, I know, but you're just so smart. I know you're going to figure this out. Consequences and empathy. Let's go to step 4. Give the same task again. This is so affirming because the message you're sending now is, you know what? You are brilliant. You are bright. You are smart enough to learn from all of your experiences. Here, let's try it again. See how it goes. Think versus fight. What we're doing with this process is inviting the brain to handle things differently. And whether they have a formal diagnosis of ADHD or not, what we're inviting them to do is use the powerful, amazing resources that are available to them in their own mind to focus and concentrate, hook up cause and effect, so that their choices can be better moving forward as well. This is a powerful, natural remedy for something that a lot of people are struggling with. Well, there you have it. 4 simple steps that are really powerful. This is part of your parenting library. I'm glad you've subscribed.